Hi everyone, in today's video I'm going to showcase another Black Clover PvP team. This time it's actually on the new Canadian soft launch server. So the server has only been going around for about 2 weeks, etc. Um, Done a bit of re-rolling just to see what teams works now in the meta. Obviously, I was playing on the Japanese server that was launched for quite a few months ago, and PvP mechanics is slightly different back then. I did manage to reach number one in the Japanese server back then. I'll post the link in the description below if you do want to see, but that team was very much relying on defense win because at that point there was no cap on how many points you can get from defense. Now it's slightly different. There is actually a cap on how many points you can get from defensive wins and losses. So, for example, you can say I lost a lot right now, and I also won some in defense, but they are all plus or minus zero. So basically, there's no point changes. So before in Japanese server, I can reach number one quite easily just because I'm winning in defense. Now it's slightly different and slightly tougher, and that's kind of why I set myself this challenge of still trying to do the same. Um, I have managed to reach at the highest point number two right now, just after the season reset, and I'll show you the team that I have done to do so. Now, I was trying to see whether I can push for number one, but I think I'm too far out. I actually dropped down to number four now. But Battle, who's at number one, he's just too far ahead the rest of us. So even though I can still buy arena tickets, I haven't bought any today. It's just not worth it because I'm not gonna catch up. So I'm just gonna be stay satisfied with at rank two, but that's fine. Now the team I'm gonna use is this team basically is pretty much reliant on. I'll talk about how this team works, but it's fairly free to play. First of all, I am free to play just to show you. If I go into here, if I look at events, if you look at first purchase, you can see I haven't purchased anything, so completely free to play. This is a quite free to play friendly team to some extent as well, mainly because if you actually look at the team, basically you just need to do a bit of re-rolling, I guess. But in this team, you re-roll for Red Army, which if you actually re-rolling for a new account should be quite straightforward. You can definitely get Lotus from the free selection. Charlotte you get from kind of just the normal game tutorial. So all of those three of them, it's pretty much set. You should have them if you actually re-roll. Uh, and then I have Sally here, but to be honest, Sally is good. But if you can replace Sally with someone else, like I think Finro, to be honest, works as well. It's slightly different, but also works. Or you can also replace her with William, or maybe even Jack if you want to do a Jack combo with Red Yami. So Sally's role is not definite. I just happen to get ridiculously crazy with Sally. I managed to put 3 copies of her, so she's actually a plus two, LR plus two, even though I'm not actually using her LR passive because it's actually quite bad. But it kind of works, and that's kind of what I'm rolling with. But like I said, for any kind of reroll team, if you reroll for Red Yami, you can get this from selection, you get Charlotte anyway. So this is a PvP team which is ready to go for any free to play who want to start from the beginning. Now, the main mechanism behind this team is basically you want to do 2 debuff on defense. So you have Lotus doing incapacitate. You also have Charlotte doing defense down. So that's kind of why Charlotte skill 2 is the first one I choose, and Lotus special skill. Then what you do is you have your Sally boosting your entire team, so buffing up everyone's attack. So that's why I'm going with Sally's special skill 1. And now when it comes to Red Yami basically what happens is that you want to use a combine attack so that it also triggers off Lotus attack as well, combine attack, and that's another AoE. So basically in this order, what you can do is actually you can do 5 AoE attack in a row. And those 5 AoE is actually on top of the fact that you have 2 defense debuff from Lotus and Charlotte, and as well as your own attack buff from Sally. So that's why those 5 attacks are really strong. And normally those 5 attacks are guaranteed to kill off one of the enemies. And that's when you, because you have used Charlotte's skill 2 to put the rose mark on, as soon as you kill them, your Red Yami can attack again. And when your Red Yami attack again, it will be his skill 1, which is another AoE. And normally at that point, you can kill off another one, and then you just keep on going. And basically, just a straightforward win from there. So very strong team, very straightforward. And this is kind of the setup of how you want to do it. Okay, now before I actually show you the team in action, let me quickly show you of the gears I'm using. I'm already able to auto farm level 15 in the gears using pretty much just Soul and Charming, the free to play or options. So that is no problem. So I already have some LR gears. A few of them, nine of them, in fact. Some of them are not leveled up because they are not really the good gears. But yeah, so the main thing you want to watch out in this kind of lineup is really on Lotus. And the most important thing is those two. You want the speed gear, the advanced speed gear at 2 piece so that you're able to get an extra 5% increase in speed. This is super, super important for my lineup. And the reason is if I look at the speed right now, this is 107 in terms of my Lotus speed. If you look at my other debuffer, Charlotte, she's at 112 speed. So what this normally means is that if I play my team without any speed boost, my Charlotte should move in front of my Lotus. And why would that be a bad thing? And why do I actually want my Lotus to move first? This is because if the enemy have Mars in their team, Mars's LR passive basically give them uh, debuff immunity at the start of the turn. And that's really annoying because what that basically means if my Charlotte move first, I'm not able to land the defense reduction on the enemy because the enemy have that debuff immunity. However, if my Lotus actually attack first, Lotus special skill has the ability to remove all buffs from the opponent, and that actually includes the debuff immunity for whatever reason that's classified as a buff. So Lotus can actually remove that, and that is going to be very essential for this lineup because otherwise, if I let my Charlotte to move first, I'm going to lose out on all of my debuffs because Charlotte is just going to be wasted there. She can still apply the mark, but because she will lose out on that defense reduction, it's going to make your team really hard to wipe out at least one enemy in your first round of attack, and that kind of ruins your whole plan of back-to-back attack based on rose marks, etc. So that's why it's very important for your Lotus to move first. Now, Lotus has 107 speed, Charlotte has 112, so that's a 5 speed difference. If you have those two gears up, what you can see is a 5% increase in speed, which is actually enough. Now, I have done some testing, and I think even though it's 5%, I think they round it down, or maybe they just round it to the closest whole number. Because what I have tested is that if I place my team formation with my Charlotte on the left hand side, Charlotte moves first. Whereas if I place my Lotus on the left hand side and Charlotte on the right hand side, then Lotus move first. Now that sounds to me they're actually tied in speed. Now I know there's like an in-game guide which basically says, if the characters are tied in speed, the turn order is determined randomly. I personally don't believe that because I have tested like about 7 or 8 times, and every single time when I have my Lotus and Charlotte in the team, whoever is on the left hand side attack first, and that is assuming they're tied on speed as well. Because if the for example this is a 5% increase, if they actually count the decimal points, then the Lotus should definitely move faster than Charlotte. Then it shouldn't matter. Like Lotus should always move 100% time faster. And whereas if it's tied in speed, which is more plausible, that's where then the position seems to matter, and that's kind of why I always place Lotus on the left hand side in my team and Charlotte on the right hand side because Lotus just seems to be able to move first in all of those scenarios. Obviously, this is different to what the game guide is trying to say. The game guide says it's tied when people are tied in speed, they decide the turn order randomly. So if you do believe that, what you can do in order to guarantee it is you can actually place two speed sets. So you can either actually no, you just need to make a full speed set here. So basically what that would do is you have 5% increase in speed and you have a speed plus 5. So that basically gives you guaranteed peace of mind. Your Lotus definitely faster than Charlotte rather than tied in speed. So your Lotus can always move faster regardless of positioning or randomness, etc. So you can definitely take that route if you want. I opted out for higher magic attack, which is kind of why I have all my magic attack pieces here. And because of that, I am taking what I have tested, which is that when you're tied in speed, whoever's on the left hand side attack first, and that's kind of my gear set. So this is the main thing you have to look out for in terms of gears. The other thing you can highly optimize as well. I'm not able to do so because I don't have the gears, but the other one you can do is Sally. And what you want to do is you want your Sally to move faster than your Charlotte as well. So Sally has a speed of 108, which is just faster than your Lotus. So what you can actually do is you can also place two pieces of speed gear on her. Now, right now I have the crappy speed gear, which is only increase the speed when there's a status change, which basically means nothing. But if I use the advanced speed gear two set, then I can also get increased speed. And the reason why I said this is also another way you can kind of like micromanage your team order is that when you use Sally's skill 3, so the special skill, what you also do is that all of the other characters of the same color will get increase in damage. And Charlotte is a red character just like Sally. So basically if you're able to get Sally to move in front of Charlotte, then what you can do is you get a bit of extra increased damage in Charlotte as well. So that's the other thing you can do to kind of make your team even more optimized. Like I said, I don't have the gears to do that right now, which is why I'm kind of just going with the flow right now. But yeah, so those are kind of the main gears that you want to look at. Obviously, for your Red Army, who's your main damage attacker, you want to do off your attacking gears, etc. So that kind of all makes sense. All right, now I'm going to show you a demo of this team actually in action. Now in this battle, I'm facing up against someone with Lotus and Mars duo. So this is a quite standard meta team, I guess you can say. He also has Finro, so basically means that he will get a speed advantage as well. So I'm just kind of using this to showcase how you may face up against some meta teams. Now in terms of power level, we're quite similar as well. Obviously, I'm slightly higher in power, but I think that's mainly because my salary is LR plus 2, and also he has a Finro, which is a SSR character, so you can see the power level is a lot lower. Level wise, my character levels are slightly lower than his, but maybe my gear is slightly better because the rough power level is all similar. Well, my Charlotte's a bit weaker than everyone else. But yeah, so it's just against an opponent pretty much of the same level as me. So just to once again showcase how a normal battle may go. Okay, so I am gonna show this clip where I have to put this on auto. Now, the reason why I put it on the auto is because I already set up my attacking sequence, exactly how I done my defense. So exactly same attacking sequence. So there's nothing I should do manually in order to control that. It's all AOE attack as well. So that basically means that there's no randomness at all in terms of who do I need to attack. So this makes a very straightforward team for you to use. And because you can auto attack everything, it's a very nice team for you to just kind of have and just run it through all of the PvP battles without worrying too much, etc. So yeah, so definitely a very nice team, very free to play friendly and very easy to maneuver around as well. So yeah, so let me just show you how this works in action. All right. So yeah. So like I said, it's an auto. I'm not going to manually do anything. So the battle will go on quite fast. I'm at times 4 speed as well. The enemy has Finro, so he will move first, and then some of his other character will move next as well. So yeah, his Lotus then move next, faster than mine. Then now it becomes my turn. My Lotus. Let me pause slightly. So what you can see here is that the enemy has lots of buffs, etc. Now there also this shield kind of sign, which basically is the debuff immunity that Mars is able to give at the start of turn. Now, obviously, the enemy's Lotus and Finro already moved, so you don't see that debuff immunity on top of them. But Mars and Asta haven't moved, so that's why you still see it. However, my Lotus is now going to use his special skill, which is going to remove with a percentage on, so there's a bit of randomness here, but hopefully remove their immunity as well. So what you can see is, let me try to show again. So yeah, so what you can see here is that I've successfully managed to remove the debuff immunity on top of Asta and also on Mars. So that's why I said very important for my Lotus to move in front of my Charlotte. Because otherwise, if my Charlotte move, Charlotte is not going to land off the debuff that you're going to see very soon. Whereas if I actually use my Lotus to do so, yes, I'm not able to land on the incapacitate. However, at least I have then removed the debuff immunity so that my debuff on Charlotte can still land. So that's why it's quite important. So what you can see here is immediately Charlotte does her stuff. You have all of the rose mark as well as the debuff, so that's why it's very nice here. Now my Sally is gonna buff up the entire team with an extra attack. So you can see at this point they're already on quite low health, three of them. Now, obviously, I got a bit lucky here in terms of removing buffs, etc. However, when you're up against a team like this, you don't even need for me to remove debuff immunity on all of the enemies, right? You can see here the three enemies are already on really low health. I only need to do it on one or two, and that can already get my chain of attacks started. Now my Red Yami is going to use the combo attack with Lotus, and it's like two AoE back to back. And you can see here, like I said, I meant to knock out three of the enemy in one go. If I did not get so lucky with my removing debuff from my Lotus special skill, that's absolutely fine. I only need to get lucky on one of them. There are four opponents. I only need to remove debuff immunity on one of them, and this will be able to kill off one of them. And now my Charlotte's Rose Mark is going to kick in, and you can see I'm going to get extra turn on my Red Army again. So yeah, like I said, you don't even need to get extremely lucky with the removing buffs. You only need to land on one of the characters, and you can already now go for back-to-back attacks. So now what you see, just my Red Army is going to go crazy with lots of back-to-back attacks. Keep on attacking three times in a row because I killed off three enemies, so that's three extra turns. And yeah, at this point it's four against one, so the battle is pretty much GG. So yeah, very fast, very straightforward auto battle here that you can see. All right, so yeah, so this is my team that I have used to climb to rank 2 in PvP. Very straightforward, very easy to use, free to play friendly, so definitely try it out. Especially if you're still re-rolling for a new account where you want to you're not doing the kind of soft launch and you want to play global, then definitely take my words, use this team. You'll need to get re-roll for Red Yami, and the rest of characters you can just take it as it goes. Now, obviously, Sally, so yeah, so remember, reroll for Red Yami, Charlotte you get for free, Lotus do the free selection. As for the fourth character, I have Sally here, but if you do not, you can go for a more free-to-play friendly version by using Finro. What Finro is able to do is give you speed up, so that guarantees all four of your characters, well not guaranteed, but high chance all four of your characters will attack first, which is nice. And also it gives, I think the crit rate will increase crit damage, like one of them. So it still is a buff, which is also very nice. So it can still work as well. So yeah, so definitely try this out.